I'm Christina. Nice to see you again.
Sorry that it's been a whole year, actually.
You know what? That's fine.
No.
Because guess what? Well, we can make sure it doesn't happen again. Hi, Bill.
Hey, good to see you. How you working?
You are like, I always see you and you always light my life up. Hi, friends. Welcome back. If you're just coming here for this, you're at the juggling concert. No, I'm just playing. You're at the second annual Women's Festival, and I am so happy to be here so that you can be a part of this absolute panel. Shout out to PhillyCAM, who is live streaming this at this moment, and all our sponsors and partners. We appreciate you, and you being here, we appreciate. So I'm going to do some really quick bio reads, and if, you know, when I'm at you, if you want to smile at me or, you know, thumbs up or put your head down bashfully and pretend like, is this me? I did all these things. You most certainly can do that. So you are here at the first of all, I want to get a shout out to the Philadelphia, because that stands for something, and I know what it stands for, because I said it like 16 times today, but that's right. I knew that, but see, I second guessed myself, see? Yep, not anymore, because I'm this is the Philadelphia Women in Film and Television for Philadelphia, right? Our city. We're in the center of it. It's delicious. It's a panel for that, so that's what you're here for. And this is how can we make female media makers in Philly more visible to the people who hire. So you're joining us now and for this conversation and brainstorming session. So let me introduce the panelists we have here. It's like flavors of top restaurants. First, we have David Dunn. What's up, David? David is the executive producer, director, and co-founder of All Ages Productions. David Dunn is one of the co-founders of All Ages Productions. As a director, he has worked for clients such as Sailor Jerry Rum, I love it to sip it, Lily Pulitzer, Lily, what'd you say?
Lily Pulitzer.
That's it. Hendrix Gin, Brita Mavea, Health Republic, Dockers, Dial for Men, TYR, Warby Backer, Chop, and many others. Did I say that wrong?
I tuned out.
Okay. I know, because that's what you do. You're like, is that all me? Yes, you did. David's personal works have shown in galleries and festivals nationally. He has completed 2 U.S. tours of his work, video work, and over 6 tours of his performance work. He is also a co-founder of the Copy Gallery, an alternative arts exhibition space, and the Small Change experimental film screening series in Philadelphia. David was also a member of the renowned art collective Space 1026 and has shown work with them in venues such as the Institute. That's what he did?
I did that.
Yeah. I like
I'm
it.
doing that. I'm just surprised
that it's on there. Yeah, well, hopefully y'all don't say, something crazy.
I'm doing it.
I like it. Institute of Contemporary Art in Philadelphia. You know what? A gallery in New York called Bravin Lee. Yep, he was there. And Labatt Gallery in Oakland, California. My man's all over, okay? He's qualified to talk on this subject. Then we have Maureen Schultz.
That's me.
Hey, cuteness.
Hello.
How are you? I'm going to give you more of a distinguished tone.
Okay.
She is the owner and executive producer for Sweet Spots Productions because she hits the sweet spot with what she does. Maureen Schultz is an experienced content creator, strategically positioned. I'm going to throw that was deep. At the crossroads of traditional TV, digital content, and social media. She skillfully guides shows and cross-media projects from initial concept to top honors and awards. She's the go-to one. She makes it go down. If you're going to have an art baby, she will make sure she guides it till it's born and successful.
Thank you. You want to be my agent?
You know what? I would love to.
Rewrite that bio.
The bio is delicious. It hits my sweet spot when I read it. Whether producing a broadcast TV series, a YouTube channel, or a social media campaign, what happens?
Yeah.
Maureen engages audiences by merging compelling storytelling with new forms of video and technology. Combining her multifaceted production experience with digital strategy skills, Maureen creates effective and entertaining content for Sesame Workshop, Disney, Discovery, Health, Animal Planet, and other prestigious clients. Maureen's proven expertise across all phases of production enables her to bring together and lead the best talent for any project. Her work has garnered multiple awards, among them an Emmy, Telly, and a BDA Pro Max. Unlike some industry folks, okay, Maureen is proud to admit she watches a lot of TV and constantly monitors digital and social media channels. It is not a job for her. It is a lifestyle, after all. Give it up for Maureen in the sweet spot. All right. We have Aaron Spence.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Aaron Spence is a Chief Business Development Officer for BoatHouse Pictures. Thank you so much for being a community sponsor. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Hey, Aaron currently serves as the Chief Business Development Officer for BoatHouse Pictures. In 2012, Andre, yep, that's a word. These,
Yes.
Say it.
Sabalet.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, Mario.
My alley.
Uh-huh.
And myself.
Yep, begin BoatHouse with $100 and a very big dream. Townage, a community. You know what? Yep. Townage, a community of storytellers in Philadelphia, helping bringing their visions to life. In his capacity as a co-founder and CBDO, Aaron speaks to forge partnerships with those interested in working with the unique creative film organizations, building a strong local business community, supervising the logistical needs for clients, and leading the strategic planning for the company at large. He is a proud graduate of both West Catholic Preparatory High School and LaSalle University. Aaron serves on the boards of several local community organizations, including the West Catholic Alumni Association Board of Governors, the Overbrook Park Church of Christ, and the Her Project, where he serves as chairman of the board. Give it up for Aaron. And last, but certainly not least, Jacqui? Jacqui! You know what? I knew that. See? I knew that. You know what? Say your name for me, bae.
Jacqui Sadashige.
You know what? I love it. It's just like velvet in my mouth, like caramel. She's a senior lecturer for the critical writing program at the University of Pennsylvania. You're the moderator.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hi.
Hi.
She received her BA from Amherst College in English and Fine Arts and Master's in English from Indiana University and her Master and PhD in Classic Studies from the University of Pennsylvania. She is currently a senior lecturer for the critical writing program at the University of Pennsylvania, where she teaches writing seminars that address race and popular culture with an emphasis on film. Her scholarly interests focus on the ways in which popular culture reflects and refracts our views on race, gender, and species. In addition to teaching and writing about popular culture, she is also a staff member of the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival, a local fitness professional, and an elephant ambassador for the Save Elephant Foundation in Thailand. You have a lovely panel of guests here. I hope you're inspired. Thank you guys for coming.
That was a lovely surprise. Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne Landau, and I'm with Philadelphia Women in Film and Television. We call ourselves PWIFT. Our mission is to support the creative efforts of female media makers in Philadelphia. Much of our work thus far has led us to understand that there's a real issue, which we're beginning to address today. Women and women-identified media makers, directors, producers, cinematographers, writers, editors, and all other crew positions are not getting many of the available jobs in the industry. We want to know why. Is it because they don't have enough credits? Do they need to build their reels? Or is it just because those who hire can't find them? Today's discussion will focus on the latter of these issues. So we want you, the audience, the women media makers trying to make a living in Philly, to find out where these busy production companies are looking when they're hiring above and below the line crew, and for the producers on the panel to discover where all of you female media makers are hiding. With that information, PWIFT is going to try and create new bridges and connections in our industry between those who hire and the women prepared to work. You're hired is a statement we all want to hear in the near future. So let's get started. Jacqui's going to take it away. We now have learned about our panel, which is awesome. So please start the discussion.
Okay, terrific. I think we've heard all about your lovely, amazing, impressive credentials. So perhaps you could tell us about the process, hiring or how you get your clients. I mean, is it through connections? Is it cold calls? And if you want to talk about something that you're currently working on and, how you made those connections, how you found your staff, so on and so forth, please feel free, because I'm sure we'd also love to hear about things that you're currently working on. So take it away.
Sure.
Aaron, you want to start?
I guess I'll start. So I'll go through kind of how we find people and then talk about what we're currently working on. So we find people to work with us and for us through any means necessary. So a lot of what we do, we get people through word of mouth, networking events, things like that. Occasionally, we found some people through Craigslist. So those kind of boards, because I don't think, especially in the Philadelphia market, I don't think there's really one central place you can go to find people who are going to fill certain positions. Finding clients, I will literally go anywhere. I've met with clients at diners. I've met with them on the top floor of the Comcast Tower. I'll go anywhere where the client is. So those are that's kind of how I curate individuals. Now, what we're currently working on, we're wrapping a commercial that we're working on with the Comcast Foundation for the Veteran Multi-Services Center here in Philadelphia. This is their second commercial with them, and we've been fortunate to be granted both projects. We're also beginning this week, so if my phone rings and I look a little anxious, it's because we're starting to shoot our first feature film. Entitled Roadwork Ahead, which we're hoped to have wrapped by early June. And we've got a lot of other smaller events coming up, some event coverage, and we're also going to be working on a documentary for a local high school that's turning 100 years old soon. So all that stuff will be on our website.
That's fantastic. Are you currently hiring for those projects? I think people might want to know.
Oh, yes. Our key positions are pretty much filled for the feature, but not for the documentary and other ongoing projects we have. We do need a really good editor, so any editors out there, please see me after this. I'm getting a little anxious about that.
All right, fantastic. And I have to admit, I threw in that current projects thing because he told me he was going down to Charleston. It's a city that I find really, really exciting food-wise. So I wanted to hear more about it. And I was going to make a Craigslist joke, and it turns out I didn't need to. Okay, David.
Yeah, I'd agree with you in that I get clients through word of mouth or just meeting them anywhere, anytime. But I also, our agency, our company is kind of targeting ad agencies, so we often make it a point to set up meetings in their building to meet their creative directors and, bring them donuts and bagels and coffee and ply them with the joys of life and tell them how much help we can offer them in any step of the creative process. And in terms of crewing, again, it's word of mouth, but I have had fairly recently we've started to hire some people who just cold called us and bugged me until I could set a time to meet with them. And I always like to meet with people because you never know what's going to happen when you have a meeting. And now two of them I work with quite frequently, and it's fortuitous for both of us. So I think and to what you were saying about meeting an editor, I think it's important to send your reel and to have a solid reel that you think about and that is eye-catching and will open the door for the conversation and beyond the conversation of saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. Yeah. It's more just, hey, can I come talk to you and see where our paths cross or what connections we can make. Yeah. And that goes for renting equipment from production houses too. Go there and talk to the people who you're renting the equipment from, not just about the equipment, but about what jobs are coming through there and what people are looking for through them. I find I've gotten some good experience just, before I had a company, just as a freelance person, spending more time at the rental house than I should have, but it paid off.
Absolutely.
And do you accept gifts of delicious carbohydrates in addition to bringing them.
Yes, I always accept them, but I flip them immediately. Then I'm like back at the agency. I'm like, hey guys, more bagels.
Anything exciting on the pipeline that you might want to share with the audience members?
I mean, we are in development with 2 projects right now, so we're kind of wading through some legal matters and trying to see if we can get these sold. And other than that, we've had a strangely slow start to the first quarter, which I've been hearing for a lot of other people in this town. But this one's longer, and now it's March, and I'm like, wake up, everybody. It's time to work.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Maureen?
Hi, everybody. I think that, a lot of what I do is long-form television. So a lot of my clients are networks that I deal with from, New York, or I work with production companies in Philly. So, and I was away outside of Philly for 20 years. I was down in Orlando working at Nick Studios, and then I was up in New York for 12 years. So coming back, I think that one thing that ties into this whole thing, and I think we've had a lot of conversations with this, is there's a lot of pockets of production people in Philly, but we don't all kind of get together like this and share resources and kind of cross-pollinate people, which I think is a great opportunity for this organization. So I'm not going to say anything different than these guys. A lot of it is word of mouth, and a lot of it is dependent on the job. Needing an editor is a wide open thing, but are you editing a feature? Are you editing a documentary? Are you editing a TV show? Are you editing a game show? Everyone's got their specialties, and so even though I might know a great, producer or AP, it depends on what I'm actually working on. So it's very specific to the actual project, and so that takes me many times. I'm just looking for new blood, new people, and people who really know specific to the project what I need. Does that help? A little bit. So it's very word of mouth. I will say that recently I was looking for an associate producer, and I kept asking around, and I wasn't getting the right skills. The term associate producer can mean a million different things. But I went on LinkedIn, and I put in Philadelphia, and I put in associate producer, and I actually found somebody who I never would have found, and we met, and I loved her, and I worked with her, and she's fantastic, and I'll work with her again. And of course, once we met, we knew we had similar connections, but I had never heard her name before. So LinkedIn does work, and the search feature there does work. And sometimes, you just take whatever, you go whatever route you need to go to find the people. And when the person's right for the job, too.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So we've got Craigslist, we've got LinkedIn. Are there any projects that you want to mention?
Well, I'm bidding on a documentary right now that is fully staffed up, I'm sorry to say. Yeah. So. Yeah.
All right, terrific. Moving on to the next question. The issue of women's representation has in Hollywood and at the Oscars is sort of a constant concern. It's getting a lot of press. Wondering if this issue resonates at all with any of you guys. And, this can be anything from the gender breakdown in your office to where, if you've ever wanted to hire a woman but had any problems with that, to just personal experiences that you care to share. And again, you don't have to go down the row. Anybody want to jump in? Everybody's all friends here.
I'm interested to hear what the guys have to say about this.
We are in office. I have 5 full-time employees. We're all, no women full-time employees, but it's certainly on my mind. And I was just having a conversation. We have a meeting on Wednesday, and an associate producer that we work with all the time, and actually a set production designer, art scenic woman that we work with all the time. We're bringing them both in to be in the meeting with us, not just for show, because they are an integral part of our team, but it's also, I am aware that I need to have an even playing field for the client that I'm trying to get to, give me this job. It's a husband and wife pair, so and they're interested in media with a mission. So I'm trying to prove to them, I don't know, not prove, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm showing them that I'm aware that there is this imbalance in the situation in Philadelphia and in the state or in the nation, in the world, and that I'm doing
In the universe.
I'm doing something and trying to be a part of making it better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Good answer. I'll echo everything Dave says, but on top of that, I was sharing with Maureen earlier that it is a struggle to find women working in specific fields.
Mm-hmm.
So we find a lot of women producers who are interested in working with us. We have one full-time woman who works with us, Colleen, who we love to death. She's wonderful, but the kind of where our desire to find more women working at our company, where that came from was we were working on our screenplay for our feature, and we're reading it and we're like, these women characters are falling flat. Right. And we said, why are they falling flat? Why are they falling flat? We said, well, you know why? Because I looked around the room, I'm like, it's all dudes. I'm like, we don't know what it's like to be a woman at all in any situation, so we need to get that input. We got input from a friend of ours who gave us a lot of great insight, and we allowed more people to read it, but we are making a more concerted effort, especially since then, to be more inclusive. In addition to that, I think for me personally, I'm also looking for people of color. So if I can find a woman of color who is in media or in some specific field, please. I'm open to having conversations about projects we can work on or positions you can fill. But that was definitely the first sign. I guess that was, Maria, that was probably 3 years ago now that happened. Yeah. So right around then we started to forge ahead.
Okay, fantastic. And you've heard the guys.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Well, I think that my personal story with this is a little bit different because I spent a lot of my early years with Nickelodeon, which was a predominantly female-run company, which we used to joke, well, it's MTV Networks, they're cheap, so of course they're going to hire women. But
Wow.
It's true. But they also put their money where their mouth was, and when I was there, the head of programming, the head of production, the head of marketing, they were all women. So I was there for 10 years, and I got to absorb and observe, women in leadership roles. So this topic was a little off my radar, surprisingly, until I really started thinking about it. And I asked around to a lot of women, like, do you feel as though there's a time in your career where you've been, not harassed, because that's different than discrimination, but maybe shut out or shut down because you're a woman. So I'm kind of curious from you guys, like what your experience is. Just a show of hands, do you feel as though that's happened to you? Is that an issue in your career? Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, it is going to happen, and it's continuing to happen. Maybe we're not aware of it. I think that I'd be interested maybe offline just talking about how to handle those situations when you're not allowed into the boys' club, or you can feel the resistance. What do we do about it? I just tend to push through. But, not every woman, does that. So I guess it's a really deep topic, and it's great to talk about the practicalities of how we get seen. But I think until we really kind of uncover why it's happening and how it happens, I guess it's going to kind of continue to happen. So that's my thought on that.
Oh, that's really interesting. And kind of jumping off of that, supposing you did, and you've sort of answered this question, but supposing you said, okay, I'm going to hire for this particular position, and I really want to make sure that the individual is a woman. How would you go about making that happen? Where would you turn? What would you do? Would you use connections, networks, so on and so forth, LinkedIn? So if you guys, again, want to just kind of maybe flesh out a little bit.
And what I'm doing, guys, is I'm putting them up here, because that's going to lead to the next step in the conversation and finding out where they're hiding and where you're looking, and to see if we can make links. So I put up here cold call, Craigslist, word of mouth, networking events, which you can elaborate on if you wish, and LinkedIn. So those are what I have so far, and I will add as you speak. Okay.
Back to you.
That seems to cover it.
I just went through a hiring process, and it was word of mouth.
Yeah,
and it was
really
a personal
is.
connection. And,
It is.
beyond that, can we add Facebook to the list?
Okay,
Yeah.
Facebook, could I ask you?
Really?
I'm On word of mouth, could you elaborate? Are those friends? Are those other companies?
Yeah, it's like,
Who is it?
so it's word of mouth from people that we work with all the time, or constant collaborators, and then in this case it was an instance of word of mouth. Then we met, and then we had a chance to work on some projects, and then a few years went by, and I ended up in this position of needing someone to be a producer, and kind of figuring out what skill set was needed, and we're taking advantage of some good timing on both our ends to make this hire. And yeah, for Facebook, that's specifically kind of like a 24 hours ahead of a shoot. Some people dropped out.
Right.
Like, who knows a grip here?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But
Yeah.
then you meet somebody, and then you can build that
There are
relationship.
some good Facebook pages too in the
There
community
are
that
good private groups and things like that.
There's Philadelphia TV people, which I happen to manage, that we try, and I tried on that page to really get all types of production people, again, advertising, TV, film, whatever, to use that page to reach out for resources, and it happens sometimes. But I think it really is, in my estimation, it's really just who do I know who would know people, and
Right.
You just call around. So that's like the main one for sure. And I think that it's an interesting question if you say to yourself, I really want to hire a woman for this role. I don't think I've ever said that. And I don't really think that I want to ever say that. I want the best person to win. I want the best person in my group. And I hope that it is a woman, That's fair, hopefully.
Right. It just seems to me that your network is more likely to be women, or at least
Oh,
there are
okay.
more women in your network, that you're going to be asking them, who do you suggest for this? And that network is more likely to be women, whereas your network,
Right.
you've already
Okay.
told us, is mostly.
I have conversations once a month or once every other month of who here knows a female DP in town, who here knows a female, a wide variety of crew, and it comes up all the time. And sometimes the answer is, I don't know any.
Right.
So, like, who do you know in New York who knows someone? And then can we get them to come down for Philly rates?
Right.
Right. And the answer is generally no.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It works out.
So I guess we're relying on racism, capitalism, sexism to find your employee pool, that's what kind of, I've lost it.
I think, wow. I would say that, I don't know if I would put it in those words, but I would say that I'm trying to expand my base of knowledge in both technique, skill set, and collaborators in all directions.
And it seems to me, I mean, there's so much, it just seems to me like that's exactly what this event is for.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what this is
Yeah.
for. And one of the things, it was very pointed on our part to have two men on this panel. And these two gentlemen also, what was interesting is when we had an event last semester, I was doing around the holidays.
December, yeah.
They came to the event because they stated things like, we want to know more about the women working in Philly.
Right.
And hearing them say that, we said, hey, we want to nurture you so that you will talk to your male compatriots and spread the word. And then this event came so that we can hopefully find from you guys and here that middle road and things we can build so that we're not left with what you just said, those three things that are, making us have this problem. So that's what, again.
But I am also, I am a white male who runs a business in this company. So, it's like, it's coming through me.
Yeah, and that's the good part. And so, again, that's why this conversation, I think, is hopefully going to be beneficial for you guys, and they're going to find out where we are,
Right.
which they clearly don't know. So we have our part, and then they can. So I
Yeah, I think for me, so my conversations generally start with Colleen. She's the lone woman on our staff. And so we kind of start there, like, who do you know? Who's good? And she'll give us, a list of names. We'll call them. And generally it boils down to someone who has a shared vision or someone who has a connection with the work that you're doing. And that's who you bring on board. But we're finding it harder and harder because our networks are drying up a little bit in that regard. So we then go into the networks of our networks of our networks and try and get as many people as we can. So I will say that I should have said this earlier on. I am not a film guy. I'm a business guy, and my friends are the film people. I just kind of give direction in the business sense. So I bring a lot of different mechanisms to the system that I don't notice existing in Philadelphia. So I create portals if they don't exist. I find a way out of no way. Like I call myself Merlin, and it's the first time I'm saying that in public. But it is on film. So, but you kind of have to almost do that because it's very difficult. And being like a black man in business in Philadelphia is difficult. Being a woman in film is difficult. Being anything anywhere these days is a little difficult. So we have to figure out new and inventive ways to do it. But I think it will always come back to generally word of mouth and happenstance. That's also a big thing. Just you're walking, like I was literally just sitting there like, I don't know if we're ever going to make this. And then a cousin of mine in Florida was like, oh, I met this girl in Disney. She kind of did this thing. Come to find out she's worked on huge projects like Mad Men. Boom. And it fell right in our lap. So.
A question. How much do you, if at all, use the directories from like Greater Philadelphia Film Office or Philadelphia Independent Film and Video Association to look for crew people?
Depends on the client, and it depends on the project. So for us, we use PIFA a lot more than the film office, and we have great ties with PIFA and working with them and Jacqui and now Hassan. So we do a lot of work with them. The Greater Philadelphia Film Office is a little more challenging just because the directory is so huge. And you don't, there's nothing there. It's not like everyone has a reel, and if they did, how are you going to wade through it efficiently? So, yeah, I use more PIFA.
Can I have a resource perhaps for you?
Sure.
There's a website called thedirectorlist.com. And this wonderful woman out in California just knew that women directors are underrepresented. So these directors do, and if anyone here who's a female director, you might want to look up thedirectorlist.com. And they're really well-vetted directors, and it's like at least 1,000 women directors. So I think hopefully with resources like that,
Right.
you guys, maybe it'll become a little bit easier to find.
Well, thank you for that.
Can I ask a question after that?
You can ask it right now.
Okay, thank you. Guys, my name is Jody, and I'm a commercial director. I do comedy mostly, so you can imagine
Nice.
how much I work. So, but right now I'm working on a documentary about sexism in filmmaking and advertising from a director's point of view and how that goes down. So one of the questions I ask, especially executive producers, when I'm interviewing them is when you're looking at a reel or a body of work, you're like, hey, I like that reel, and then you find out it's a woman's work. Is there any consideration for you in that a female, especially comedy, well, any director, but comedy director, is a hard sell to an ad agent? Ad agency boys don't really think
Right.
women are funny.
Right.
And these are just kind of, they're not, you can dispute them, but I don't know, from interviews and people I've talked to, it is a factor. So I'm wondering, as like an executive producer person, is that a factor? Like, hey, I have to bring that girl into a meeting with these ad agency boys that I know because I drank with them. This isn't going to go well, so maybe you don't use her real, or you don't want to represent her. Is that a thing?
There you go.
Well, not for me. I don't deal with advertising, but I understand that. I think you're bringing up a point that, again, was probably a sidebar conversation, but I think there's a creative glass ceiling in this industry. So it's not just about representation. It's not just about getting women hired. It's getting female leaders in this into the workforce. We have a lot of producers. We have a lot of production managers, but we don't have specialists. I think women don't necessarily go for the specialist roles like DP, director, creative director. And I'm wondering why that is. Do we naturally gravitate toward more support roles?
I think I would argue with you greatly.
Okay.
I do, and I don't know if anyone else can. I have a mic on. I do think they're out there, and I think.
Oh, sure,
when
definitely.
You come in that world a little bit, there are these cinematographers that are amazing.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean, are they in Philly?
Not necessarily.
Well, but to follow up with that point, I'd be, for certain clients, for certain projects, I'd be more hesitant to show them a director from Philly than I would a director from New York or LA, regardless of whether they're a man or a woman, because there would be automatically just like, I'm not even going to look at that person from Philly. So I think there's that.
Yeah, understood. Would that change with a Philly-based client?
No, it would change with the level of the job.
Right.
Certain price point, you're going to LA or New York for your director,
Never
possibly for your
Philadelphia.
DP.
So we're screwed twice.
Yeah, and it affects us in the same way that it's like, we pitch on these higher end jobs, and it's sort of like we know we're not going to get it because the agency is going to go with the production company who's repping the director, and it's just there's not a thought process that they can keep it in town.
Right.
And I think that needs to change too.
Could I ask you a question in terms of those ad agencies, in terms of the women who are decision makers at that level? What's the ratio?
I
don't think I've run into it.
50. I'd say that in my experience, there's a lot of women in advertising. Yeah, in creative directors. Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't know about in sort of when you get to these larger conglomerate agencies, whether they're
Right.
Uh,
up above that. But the levels that I deal with, certainly, I think there's plenty of women that I've met and have worked with.
I'd like to just now, could I just get a feel of who we have in the audience? How many are directors? Could you just raise your hand so that
Nice.
the panel can also get an idea? How many are producers, creative content producers and online, like supervising producer types? Okay. How about DPs? DPs, cinematographer types. Okay. Editors. Okay, good. Who did I miss?
Writers.
Screenwriters. And I'm a screenwriting teacher. Oh my God. Screenwriters.
Way to go.
Screenwriters in here. Yes, okay, absolutely. And now, who did I miss? What categories? Talent. Say again? Talent. Tell me what I missed.
Sound?
Sound. Anybody, if you are someone in a category that I missed, just tell me what I missed. Lighting. Yes?
Mutual fund developer?
Okay.
Awesome. We need to talk.
Any other way? Kayla?
I would add business development sales.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, again, just so you kind of know the audience
Okay.
here that we're talking about. Now, think you heard where and see here some of the places that they go. How many of you list on Craigslist? 1, 2, 3. How many of you, I guess on Facebook, you have a Facebook page of some sort?
Or respond to Facebook ads.
Or respond to Facebook ads? Anybody go to Facebook to look for work? Okay.
Okay.
How many of you have a website? Okay, cool. Word of mouth, okay. Greater Philadelphia Film Office. Any of you posted on there? Okay. Networking events. LinkedIn. How many of you are in the, okay, that's
Good.
a lot more hands on LinkedIn. Good. PIFA. Are you listed on PIFA? Okay.
You should be. You should.
Now, they're going to PIFA. Okay, how many of you know what PIFA is? Okay, it's a great place to, for finding crew, okay, above and below the line. But again, a place where you can list yourself. Now I want to hear, where are you listing yourself if it's not listed here? Where are you putting yourself out there to be found? Anybody have something to add? In the back.
Mandy.com?
Say again.
Mandy?
What? Okay, I don't know what that is.
They just changed their name.
Mandy.com.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like a crewing and know where they're looking for work.
So this is if you're looking for work, you put yourself there.
They have
Either
ads,
way?
yeah.
Okay, so if you're looking for work, you post yourself. If you're, and vice versa, you can see if there's a job there for you. Okay, so Mandy, good. Someone else? Anyone else doing something different? Yes.
No, I would just add PWIF because actually just through networking indirectly, I've actually found opportunities for it.
Okay, PWIF. And we are developing for PWIF for members. There will be a place where you can put your reel, and hopefully, again, people will find out, just like with PIFA, that PWIF has one too. Yes?
I'm a film student, so I noticed recently if I just go on the actual websites, the Creative Film Offices, Philadelphia Film Society, you go into volunteer areas, they're throwing in all kinds of stuff. Well, that's how I got this, So they put things on their websites all the time with their emails, the contacts of people. So going on the actual film sites into volunteer work, and then we talk to people about more jobs and stuff that way. Like this is super helpful. I've done a lot of jobs that way.
All right, so you just mentioned the Film Society.
Philadelphia Film Society, all of them. Greater Philadelphia Film Office.
Any that are on here? Okay. Okay, good, yes.
PhillyCAM.
PhillyCAM, all right. What do they have?
Well, it's mostly networking in person. They do a little bit of cool stuff online, but it's like to crew for television shows, like live television shows, and then also pre-recorded shows.
Okay, so they list what they need?
They have a Facebook group, like call for like volunteers. So like people someone's doing a show, it's like, hey, I need volunteers for that. You can also just go and just meet people. They have events all the time. That's how everything that I've been able to accomplish in Philadelphia has been because of connecting to them.
Okay, good. Yes? Good,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, hi. I actually have a number of questions, but I want to
Just finish this.
Yeah, in line with this. A question about organization within their organizations, like what jobs exist within the agency itself. Because I know we're talking about production here.
Yeah.
When it comes to the production company, I want to understand more what the staff position looks like.
Want to just respond to like how do you staff? What are your staff positions?
I think every company is smaller, but I'm meeting more and more sort of agile companies that are looking for 2 executive producers, an editor, an animator, and maybe just sort of like that's what we have 2. What do we have? We have 2 producers, an editor, an animator, and sort of like an executive producer, sales. A person who talks to a lot of people and has a lot of connections and is going out and just meeting people for coffee all the time. Yeah, but I think we're an example of a very small company, but that's our sort of business model to keep it small and be able to ebb and flow as opposed to a larger company in town that has camera operators and sound people and the whole kind of crew in-house all the time.
Yeah, we're structured. We actually have 4 people in business development alongside myself. So there's 5 just in business development because the one thing that we notice is no matter how many proposals you put out there, you're probably only going to get about 15% to say yes. So we have to just constantly curate to have work. And then we have 4 creative people who are in place full-time, executive producers, and then 2 cinematographers. And they're always in, but we have a huge network of people that work with us regularly on projects. But it's pretty much business development and then creative. That's how it's set up.
I just hire as I need to hire for project. That's what I do. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a great idea to have 4 business development people.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's wonderful. So stressful. So much coffee.
Another part of this topic that, again, this is the first step in this conversation because this is, how deeply ingrained this problem is in our business. This is by no means the end of it. We're going to continue to have sessions, hopefully finding solutions for Philly. But one of the other things that came up about production companies is that men often tend to have a group of guys, a couple guys get together, form a company, 2 or 3 guys get together, form a company.
Yeah.
Gals tend to do it on their own. I'm going to be an independent producer. And the pressure is different. the outreach is different. The more people you have, the more contacts you have. And so that's another interesting question that we came up with. Why are women tending to be loners in the producing area, and guys kind of joining a team? But that's another conversation. Okay, now, think you heard this. You guys gave us some answers about where you put it. Now, let's see the ideal world in Philadelphia. Ideal. What would you like to have as a resource when you need people for jobs? What would you like to do? Or if you lived in New York or LA, somewhere else where they had some system that made the communication between the hired and the people who need the work, how can we fix this? Throw out maybe a couple of suggestions about maybe what we could do. Because it can be a big idea. It can start small and grow. It needs people to do it and organize it. Maybe it's a paying job. But we need to find a solution. And this is a brainstorming session. So my question now is, what would you like? Let's start with you guys. What would make your jobs easier? Did you guys write this down, or do you remember this just in case you need it? Because it's going away. Oh, pictures. I forgot.
Diane, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many of you guys have Vimeo pages?
Okay, good.
Right.
All right, Vimeo.
But you can't search on Vimeo.
You can't search on Vimeo, but I always find it like that's where everyone puts
Right.
their
Just
best
host
work.
their,
Right.
yeah.
I do question always if there's a way to harness Vimeo pages somewhere
Right.
so that
Yeah.
it's easier for them to say, hey, I'm looking for a DP, I'm looking for a comedy director. Because that's exactly what you need right now, and then finding you know.
Some sort of place for reels and places to go that way. Okay, what would help you guys? Can you, and if you want to ruminate,
We'll ruminate.
you guys can throw in too. You have some?
This is sort of a long-term thing, but my partner and I were talking. We went to a Philadelphia business meeting at next to the building by City Hall, and we had this long conversation about how we can improve just the general infrastructure of crew and the technical landscape in Philadelphia, much the way that Philadelphia is focusing so much on the tech world. How can they also start to focus on this media world as this media landscape is changing, and there's so many networks and there's so many video on demand possibilities and possibilities for shorter form serial content that can be produced here, and how can Philadelphia put an effort into maybe through Temple or shoring up the technical end of filmmaking to get students who can come into the landscape here and not have that brain drain where they go to Atlanta or LA or New York.
To stay here.
Yeah, so this is a long-term thing, but more companies developing more content that can be produced here.
Content development here.
Yeah, serial content, branded content, and then the more that's being produced here, the more that people can stay here because it's a viable solution for a job, for a lifestyle.
Okay.
WIPT is also starting talks of an incubator, of keeping
Yeah.
young people here, giving them the resources like the Fashion Incubator does, to give them the resources to produce at least their first few projects right out of school,
Because,
to
yeah.
get them rooted. And so we're in talks. If you want to talk about that, we'd love to.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much emphasis on the tech world, and I feel like it's sort of Philly doesn't think about itself as having a possibility to produce media in a different way. I'm giving yes.
I understand the film office cuts a break for student filmmakers, which is great. I mean, I certainly wish it was like that when I was a student filmmaker. But I think that there should be sort of a class of lower budget, permitting and licensure and just help to encourage exactly that.
And finding new ways to use. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that again, now we've got the content maker who's going to go hire. Same problem. How are you going to find the people? So now let's go to that solution and see about what do you think we can do in Philly? Could we, those things that were put up here, could we find a way to use LinkedIn? Could we find a way to use something else? Somehow to be a resource?
I think the obvious thing would be to have
productions that are going to be starting in Philadelphia. Here's what they're looking for. You know,
And with this,
and here's how you submit yourself to them.
self-posting. Because again, to organize and take care of that needs either a group of people, someone paid, or it can be self-submitting kind of thing. Okay, so a website that is some way Philadelphia crew, Philadelphia, you can break it down however you want to in categories. A website.
Along those lines,
Yeah.
it would probably, I'm going to make an assumption, that'd be most helpful for you guys if that was a pretty nicely vetted website. Not simply.
And that's, it's there's the vetted one, and there's the put it up.
Which I'm sure if I was in their position, or even if I crew for a film myself, I don't even.
No, I think they should be the same. You want to be on the vetted website. Yeah. You don't want crappy jobs. You want to be taken seriously. And most of the people in this room apparently have some kind of prop. So you don't want to end up just on the film version of Craigslist.
Right.
You work that way, but you know, you want to say people are going to say, all right, here are the serious people.
I think we need more agency too. I mean, I'm speaking a little bit more specifically to the talent side, just because I was born and raised here, and I can't tell you the number of times I talk to friends who know what I do, know what I'm about, and they're like, you have to be in LA. That is the only way you're going to like make moves in your career, and I really hesitate to do that for a couple of reasons. You know, not just LA culture, but like it would be nice to kind of stay local and feed into that. I'm committed to that, but I get that all the time. And then I just heard from somebody else, we were talking about this, and she said, you're not going to find any kind of good representation in Philly anyway. So even if you want to stay here, we'll get you something in New York or LA. So again, with that same issue.
Right.
And I think that works now that I'm working in the production side as well. I'm not seeing that there's a lot of agency. And what they do is effectively bridge that gap between really good talent and the folks that are looking for it. Talent being whatever, like on camera, behind camera, in whatever capacity.
Do you go to agents, or are there agents for directors, etc.? No.
I have
Philly.
not.
No.
In Philly,
Yeah.
no.
No.
Yeah, I think it's just because it doesn't exist.
Right.
Right.
What if an agent came to you and said, like, I've got this high octane pool of talent, boom, 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 here you go, and they bring it to you, so you guys don't have to go searching for it.
Or like in LA or New York, you pick up the phone and you call
Right.
the agent.
And that's
Right.
Such you got. We have 5 minutes left.
I wanted to just add one thing about the brainstorming part of this. I think that, as I said before, it seems to me that this is a very kind of segmented city. The ad people know the ad people, the production people know the production people, the film people know the film people. But I would like to see, more cross-pollination of resources so that, a good commercial director might just be perfect for the project that I'm on. And I think that that's just really important, because there's a lot of really great people in this town that I've never worked with because they're off, only doing their specialty. And unfortunately, fortunately, I think that we should give more opportunity to let people cross over and explore, especially with, new media opening up and a whole new definition of what that can mean. So I think it's important for people to be a little bit more bilingual, maybe.
I just have a quick question for those who are here. There's something I've been kicking around. I'm curious if there was some sort of co-working space or resource center you could go to continue education, continue skills building, and a place where you can go and use the expensive gear that you can't afford or the expensive software you can't afford. Would that be something that would be a draw for you? I know PhillyCAM, but I'm talking about on no offense, but on a much grander scale. Because PhillyCAM, from my experience, they're focused on a very particular niche. What I want to do is I'm working out a business plan. I won't share too much. I'm working on doing something on a much larger scale like that. There are people who are interested in doing that, people who want to see talent come from Philadelphia and not from New York or LA or Atlanta. So those are just something I wanted to ask.
We only have a couple more minutes. I'll just take, if you have a couple other things to just add right here.
Hey,
Yeah.
So I'm an arts educator, and I run Outreach for a Children's Theater Company.
Nice.
A lot of our
Right.
is amazing. I think there's so much potential for that in Philly. But before that, before they're applying for colleges, so they know that they want to be in the specialized field, and like, where do we get funding for that?
Yeah.
Where are these young
Yeah.
people getting their training or interning? And being in your production company and saying, this exists for me, and I'm empowered, and I'm trained, and I want to stay in Philly and
Right.
continue that. Like, where is that?
Right.
And our young people.
And pre-college, and I teach here at York, and I understand our graduating classes leave here, and, you know, some of them stay, many of them go, some of them come back later, but it is an issue in terms of being here. Yes?
There's a program called Girl Develop It and also Tech Girls that we as media makers would be great to partner up with. Because they already focus on that, but they were more so focused on tech, like
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier. And as Diane and Suzanne, you both know, my vision for my startup has a lot to do with content development, and getting funding to start something in media rather than tech is a lot more challenging. And finding the networks of people like yourself, Aaron, I'm thrilled to hear that you are working on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd love to connect
We can
with you
chat,
on that. Yes.
and you'll sign an NDA. That'll be great. I wish I were joking. No.
We kind of have to close right now, but it's not done. And Suzanne will give you some information right now on the next step we could take. I'm going to pass this around, and if you want to continue this conversation with us, where we could tell you about events coming up as well as something we want to do online, please give your name, email, and your job title, and do that before you go if you can.
Really fast. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming today. Obviously, this is a much bigger conversation than 1 hour, but let's continue it. And we can continue this offline because we started a Facebook group called PWIF, Making Female Media Makers More Visible with People That Hire. And we want to keep... we want to hear all of your ideas, and so we'll compile them. And in a month, we're going to try and get a roundtable together and do part 2 of this, because I think it's a really important conversation. There's a bunch of us that actually left Philadelphia, that are part of PWIF, that left Philly, that have experience in LA and New York and came back here. And we know some of the things that it takes to succeed, but we maybe need help with building blocks to help make them happen. But for now, thank you guys so much for helping us today and coming out. We appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of the film festival. This is great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I think what we're going to do is we're really starting the conversation. And the next step, we're going to add dots to this.
Please do.
Okay? It is 3 days that we have.
Hi, friends and countrymen. Hello. Hi, everybody. So, what's about to go down, since we just keep hitting you with the buffet of beauty and awesomeness at this 2nd annual Women's Film Festival, if you need to stand up and stretch and chat, we're going to do a little quick transition. We are going to have a 15-minute demo from Platoon Self-Defense. They're going to show us some moves on how to defend yourself in these streets. And then we're going to do show all the family shorts. And then we're going to take a little bit of a break. And then we are going to show Gender Journeys, More Than a Pronoun, Luke Allen Productions, and also the featured trailer of the festival, Dollface. Boom. So don't go anywhere.